Hey, welcome back guys. So this video is going to focus on how to factor a trinomial when your leading coefficient is not 1. Alright, so when it comes to factoring, so hopefully what we are aware as our first absolute step, regardless what kind of factoring problem you're doing, is our first thing that we should always do every time is to always look to see, do we have a greatest common factor? Because if we have a greatest common factor, we need to get rid of that first before we move on to any factoring techniques. So let's take a look at this problem here. All right, so taking a look at this problem here, so you always want to compare your numbers, then compare your variables. Now looking at my numbers here, 30, 92, and 32, we definitely do have something in common there going on. I see that they're both, they're all three even numbers at least, so we know at least the 2 works. These are slightly big numbers here, so we may need to sit back and just look at this for a little bit and maybe try and see what else might possibly work. You know, a 3, a 6, a 9, just different things like that. But I actually think a 2 is the only thing that's going to work here. You also need to look over your variables and just see, do you have a variable in common with all 3 terms? But we have C's here, not here, and then we have G's here, not here. So for this problem, before we do anything else, we need to factor out our greatest common factor of a 2. So let's go ahead and get started doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the 2, all right, we're going to factor it out to the front. And to see what we're left with here, remember that's the same thing as dividing it out. If we're going to factor out the 2, we need to divide it out of everything to see what we're going to be left with. So let's divide. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Drop down to c squared. Plus 92 divided by 2, let's see, that's a 46. Drop down to cg. Plus 32 divided by 2 is a 16 there, and drop down g squared. Now that we've gotten rid of the greatest common factor, now we can focus on factoring this problem here. And because we have a trinomial that has a leading coefficient that is not 1, I am definitely going to use no fuss factoring for this problem here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down the 2. I'm going to draw my parentheses, and I'm going to get started on factoring this thing. So when it comes to no fuss factoring, the first thing that we do is repeat the first term twice. This 15 here, so I'm going to put 15c, 15c. All right, then because we do have more than one variable in this problem, we do want to look at our last term over here next, and we do see that we have this g squared over here. Now this last term comes from multiplying the last times the last. And the only way to get this g squared is by multiplying a g times a g. So I need to fit those g's in over there just because I notice I do have this second variable there. But we also need to figure out what numbers are going to go in front of that. And to figure out what numbers are going to work, this is what we do. We multiply the first number times the last. First times last. So 15 times 16. And we need to multiply that together. And 15 times 16, that's going to give us a big number there, 240. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make a list of everything that multiplies to get 240. We might need to break out the calculators for this one. So let's see. 1 times 240, 2 times 120, 3 times 80, 4 times 60, 5 times, oh my gosh, 5 times what, 45 or 48? 6 times 40, 7 doesn't go in, 8 goes in 30 times, 9 doesn't go in, 10 times 24. Let's see, 12 times 20. Ooh, am I running out of ones yet? Let's see. All right, well, what we're looking for, so let's see if we've already found the right one. What we're looking for is which combination of these that multiply to get to 220 are gonna add or subtract to a 46. They always need to add or subtract to your middle term. Our middle term is a 46, so let's see if one of these is gonna give us a 46. All right, and taking a look at our combinations here, I see a 6 and a 40. 6 plus 40 is 46. That's gonna work for me. So I'm gonna go ahead, I don't know why I put a 4, a 6, and a 40. There we go. Whew, that was a long list of numbers to go through. All right, so we factored out our greatest common factor. You repeat the first term twice, first times last, so we can find this nice magical combination here. That means the next thing that we do is figure out what our signs are. And the easiest thing to always look for in our signs, well, actually, taking a step back with this problem, do notice here, every single thing is positive here. And that is always nice for us, because if every single thing is positive in our trinomial, hey, every single thing is positive in our factors. That makes it easy for us. The last step in no fuss factoring is this. We take a look at one or both of our factors here, so that we can simplify. In no fuss factoring, the last step is always to simplify out whatever number we notice we have in common here. So looking at the first factor here, so we're going to take a look at the 15 and the 6, and we're looking for what number they have in common. Well, 15 and a 6 have a 3 in common. So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify by that factor of 3. We're going to get rid of it. So let's drop down that 2 in front. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Drop down the C plus 6 divided by 3 is 2, and drop down the G. Check the second one to see if that can be simplified as well, and it definitely can here, because a 15 and a 40 have a 5 in common. So let's divide out that 5 and let's see what we're left with. 15 over 5 is 3C, plus 40 over 5 would give us an 8G. Now that we're done simplifying, that was the absolute last step. We are done. This is our final answer down over here. And always remember, when it comes to factoring, you can always multiply your answer back out. And as long as you get your original problem, you know that you are right.